Hi, and welcome to Blissfully Sweet Behind the Scenes. And today behind the scenes is again taking on a more tutorial video format because I wanted to show you how I was going to create one of my cakes this week. And this week's cake is for a special person in our life, and so I want to make him a very special cake, and he's an electrician. And so my husband had the most wonderful idea of, what about a light bulb? So instead of having one laying down, of course, I thought, why not I make a standing up light globe? So that is what I'm going to be making this week, and I wanted to share the process with you. This is the type of globe that I'm thinking of, something vintagey, and the way that I'm going to construct it is it'll be this way. So I have my board here that you can see that I've already started the construction of it, and I'll show you through that process in a second. But as you can see here, the most important part will be getting the shape correct, as well as the top and the filaments, okay, to make sure that this cake looks pretty much as realistic as what I can. I'm going to be enlisting the services of my airbrush and doing a lot of painting on that to create the shadows, the light and the colour in the filament. So you'll be seeing all of that process too. What I have here is my cake board, and because I know that there's going to be quite a bit of ganaching and covering and everything, I decided to cover my cake board in a wood grained contact paper, so that has saved me a little bit this week, that I don't have to worry about it and cover it up. I have, because obviously the globe is round, I have the bottom support here as being a styrofoam ball that is around the same dimensions as my cake that I have baked. I've got my threaded rod covered in floral wire, as I usually do, and everything is put in place, and I have my cleats in place to make sure that when I go to make this cake, everything is stable. So I have that here. I'm going to be stacking my cakes up, and if you have a look at the shape of the globe, you have the round actual globe, then it comes up like this, and then this part here. So you'll actually be seeing the whole process with this here. So I'm going to be starting that now. We're going to be watching the ganaching in time lapse, and enjoy. I hope you do learn something, and I'll be coming back to see you through the process after the ganaching. Okay, so that's the rough ganaching all finished. As you can see, I've used two spheres that I have put together, and it's just the soccer ball pan that I baked with. Makes it much easier to having to carve a sphere. And what I included on top was just a little 4-inch round cake, so I can get this part that you can see here on the globe, just to have that gradient there. And the only other part that will sit on top will be the actual turnaround part that you put into the light fitting. And I'm not the electrician, so I don't actually know what that's called. But anyway, so I'll put that on there lastly. So what I have to do now, and I probably should have used 2 steel rods to support this. However, I mean, it is moving around a little bit, and that's only because that I wanted to have the rounded shape on the bottom of my globe without having any flat bits. It's safe. It's not going to be going anywhere. And I'm delivering it, so I'll be cradling this like a baby. So if you're doing this again, if I was doing this again, I'd probably put 2 poles in there. So if you're thinking about doing something like this, you can learn by my mistake this time. So what I'm going to do now is let this set for a little bit. I'm going to then hot knife it and make it all nice and smooth, and maybe add in a little bit more ganache where it needs to make sure it is the sphere shape that I'm after. And the thing I have to do then after that, and you can imagine this is not going to be the easiest part, is to cover it. So I think that's going to be probably the most tiresome part of this cake, because once it's covered, the only thing that really needs to be done is airbrushing, and that is going to be the other important part, because I think the airbrushing is going to make this make the difference for this cake and make it actually look like it is light globe and it is glowing. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve, is for my light globe to glow. So if you can all cross your fingers and toes for that for me, please, I would be much appreciated. So I'm leaving this for now. I'm off the light and I'm going to start going on to my Toot Toot Thomas train. So enjoy this, and I'll be back probably tomorrow morning once I have let it set and do the hot knifing, and then we'll start covering, and you're going to see my extreme pain when I do that. Well, welcome back to day 2 of my light globe. This morning what I have done is hot knifed my cake and added in a little bit more ganache in just some of the areas to fill out, to make sure I have a nice spherical shape. So I've done that, and now it is the time to cover the cake. So I've been putting this off all morning, but you know what? Some things you just have to do, so I'm going to be doing it. What you'll see me doing is I'm not going to even attempt to try and do it all the way around. Actually, there's 2 different ways that I might do it. I'll think about it and then you'll see what I do in the end. Okay, so one way is to cover from the top and go straight over. And another way is to wrap it going around and then probably do it in 2 pieces. So that way you'll have a seam just down either side here. And what you have to do is just smooth that out with your smoothers. So I'm going to have a think about which way that I'm going to do it and how my fondant is playing, and you'll see me doing that in time lapse very soon. But in the meantime, please, everyone, say a little prayer for me, please. No matter how long you do this, how long you've been caking for, sometimes the nerves when you're covering a different shape with fondant, they never go away. But anyway, here I go. Little prayers, please. Thank you. Yay, I finished it in one go, and as you can see, I did it from the top down, mainly because I thought I can, and the second reason is because I was too lazy and I didn't want to wrap it. And I know some of you are like that as well when you feel like that. So sometimes if you think you possibly can, give it a go, and it's white chocolate underneath, so even if it didn't work from the top down, I could have ripped it off and tried again, but I'm so happy that it worked first time. So doing that, now I'm going to let that dry and set. All I did to smooth was use my smoother and my acetate flexible smoother as well, which helped a lot. What you can see, what I've got up the top, and I still haven't worked out what the name of that thing is that goes on top of the light bulb that screws in. Anywho, so I am going to do a screw one, and I've decided to do that in fondant. In styrofoam. That'll be covered in fondant. So that's going to be sitting on top here. I'm going to be cutting it down and rounding off the edge there, but I'm going to add that on last. So you'll see me doing that. See me doing this part separately. So once I let this dry and set, what I'll do afterwards is I'm going to start the airbrushing, and this part is probably going to be apart from the covering it, it's going to make sure, it's going to give me the most nerves actually, because I want to make sure that I get the right shading on my globe. So when I go to airbrush it, I'm going to have the dark grey going down here and going into lighter grey. So this part here will look like it's illuminated, and the filament when it comes down will be hand painted on here. So it's going to give the illusion of a lit up light bulb, and that's what I want to do for this cake, seeing it's for an electrician. So the next part you'll see is airbrushing. So I think that may take place this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So, but anyway, we'll see how we go, but I'll see you in the next little bit. Hi, and it's the following day, and today is the day for airbrushing, and I couldn't have picked a better day, not because it's raining, so that'll be the noise that you hear around me in my outside airbrushing studio back on my back porch. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing today is airbrushing the globe. What I have done here, and I'll bring you in a little closer so you can see, I have done the outline for where I'll be doing the filament part of my globe. Okay, I wanted to put that on there first just to make sure that I knew where that was when I was airbrushing, so I wouldn't be going over that part too much. So what you'll see today is airbrushing, and I'm just going to be using grey, so it's just a mix of black and white. I'm going to start with my lightest shade and then add in some darker parts of grey in the parts that I need afterwards. It's always better to start with the light and then go with the dark once you know what you've done. So what I'll be doing is, to make it look like the globe is a little bit incandescent, I'm going to go down with the darker grey and try to gradient it going across this way. So what it will do is make sure it looks like that this part is dark and this part is light here, so it looks like that part's glowing versus the side. So that'll give it that traditional light globe look. As you can see, the screw top, see, I know what it's called now, the screw top of the globe isn't on yet, and I'm going to do that at the end. I just don't want it to get in the way while I'm doing this airbrushing and painting. Once I've finished the airbrushing and I've put all my details in here, I'm going to hand paint in this filament design, so in shades of grey and black, just to give a bit of depth and dimension to something that is just one-dimensional. And then I did something a little bit different with the filament down here. I've just done in 50, just because it's a 50th birthday party. So if you have a look on a lot of globes, especially the vintage globes that are around at the moment, you see those filaments are in a goldy, when it's lit up, it looks like a dark gold color. So what I'm going to be doing here with just that 50 part, for it to look like it's glowing, I'm going to have it in shades of gold, copper and bronze, just to give it that glow effect. So what I'm hoping, crossing fingers first time, is that once I finish with my dark and light, and this part here looks like it's lit up from the inside because it's white, and then with this glowing and with the thing on top, it's going to look like a light globe. And especially when we take it to the party tomorrow night, he'll be really surprised. I can't wait to show him. So I'm going to start airbrushing now. I'm going to turn the camera around the other way so you can actually see what I'm doing, and I hope you enjoy and learn a few things about airbrushing. So there it is, the basic airbrushing that I have done. I wanted to stop here because I want to paint in this filament area before I go any further, because I just want to see, once that is done and I stand back and have a look at it, to see whether I actually need a little bit more contouring on my globe. I'm quite happy with the way it is at the moment, but what I was thinking of doing, and I always like to wait until the end to see whether I think it'll actually make a difference to the cake, is to add a little bit of pearl airbrush shimmer just all the way around here. I think that will make that difference, but again, it's not something that I want to wait till the end to see. So I'm going to start working now on the screw cap lid, and once this dries, and I'm not afraid to touch it, so I'll probably be doing that later on tonight, is I'm going to be painting in this the filament there, and I really can't wait to see when that's done, because I think that'll really just bring it to life. So with a cake like this, there's nowhere to hide, because it really only is a few simple steps. It is making sure that you've carved, or you have the right shape for your cake, you've ganached it, and you've covered it, and you've airbrushed it. There's no other decoration to hide from, so you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing, you are doing it to the best of what you can. So this is what I'm doing now. Once I get the filament done and put the screw cap on, hopefully we're going to have I'm trying to think of some clever thing to say. Can't think of anything, but hopefully this lights up your day. I'm back again now because it actually has had a bit more time to dry, and I want to kind of get it done while there's natural lights all around, so that's why I'm going to do it now. What I'm going to do is paint the filament here, so I'm using my trusty edible arts paints from Sweet Sticks. So that's what I'm going to be using for this part here, and for the 50, which is the actual glowing part, I'm going to be using a combination of gold and copper to paint that in. So that's what you'll see now, and you can see that I've added in my screw cap for the globe, and I really love the way that it actually just comes together and makes it look like a globe now. So I'm really excited, and that's probably why I'm painting it now, is because I couldn't wait any longer. So I'm going to do it now, and I just enjoy the painting process.